Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I'm very excited for you to hear this next interview. I have Brittany Sconiers. I think I pronounced that correctly. She is an author, a fashion designer, the host of The Release Show, who I had the pleasure of being a part of. I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her. So Brittany, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for the great welcome.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm excited about this conversation. The first question I always ask my guests is to just answer and just share who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm Brittany Sconiers, and I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. I actually live in Florida right now. I moved here 9 years ago. It'll be 10 years this year. I am a host. I just became the host of the Release Show this past year, August of 2020. And I'm a fashion designer. I've been a fashion designer for many years. I started when I was 15 years old. So I've been in and out of that industry for a very long time. I've been in Vogue magazine. I've been in many fashion magazines. I have been on the runway in New York and a lot of different other cities. Don't want to name all those. But if you Google my name, you'll see information about my shows. You'll be able to view some of my collections as well. I'm also an author. I wrote a book about my life. Have a very interesting life, and it was so crazy how I came up on the idea of starting the Release Show, because it's about real people with real stories about their real life. And I have yet to share my own story with the world about my life, which they'll be coming soon. I think I want to do it on my 35th birthday, which will be May 13th. So I'll be on the lookout for that. I think it'll be a great moment in my life to share what I've been through as I continue to interview others and hear their amazing stories. And so I'm a wife, a mother of 2 and 1 to be. I'm currently pregnant, and I am doing. So,
what's your due date?
So that's a little bit.
What's your due date?
June 19th, the weekend of Father's Day, June 19th.
Well, if it comes early, my birthday's June 9th. That would be so cool if we shared a birthday.
Oh,
if I shared a birthday. That's so funny. So sweet. Well, you've done a lot of great things, and so I'm excited to kind of dig a little deeper. But I am curious about the Release Show and your interest of interviewing people's lives, and I'm sure you learned a lot of lessons through these interviews, and you've interviewed a bunch of different people. Is there anything that's come to mind of like maybe some lessons that have really stuck with you, or stories that you feel like the listeners here could benefit from learning about?
Wow. It's great that you asked that question, because I have learned a lot of things I didn't know, from infertility to sexual abuse victims, human trafficking. To be honest with you, I didn't know anything about human trafficking until about 2 years ago. My friend who I used to work with had an organization about human trafficking, and I knew nothing about it. And she was like, "Girl, you know about this human trafficking, have this organization?" And I was confused. Really, I knew nothing about it because I wasn't raised around that. I didn't hear about that in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't think it's really that big there, but here in Florida it is. And so I had a human trafficking victim on there. I mean, you hear some of the most amazing stories, and it's like, I mean, you just never know what someone else is going through. And that's what I think that we all need to understand, is that sometimes everybody's not having a good day, and you never know what they're going through. You never know what they've been through. I mean, the guests that come on my show, I look at them, they're so positive, beautiful, inspiring, and their stories are heartbreaking. It's like, wow, I'm listening to the words that are coming out of their mouth, and I'm just like, wow, you think you're going through something bad, somebody else could be going through something worse. So I think that we need just to show compassion. I've always been a very compassionate and loving person, but having these different guests on my show has made me want to be more compassionate towards people, even when you see negative people out there. Just show love. You know, it's taught me a lot about love and compassion, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It shows, I think, two things that I'm hearing is one, like you just said, you never know what somebody's going through, and the kinder you are, the better it's going to make the situation, and it's just, you don't want to make someone's day worse, you can only make someone's day better. But then I think like the people that you're interviewing are also probably successful or have their own businesses or have just done, taken their stories and have made something from that and are impacting the world. So I think that's the other kind of piece to it, is that if you're currently going through something, and I hope it's not as bad as like recovering from human trafficking, but either way, I think the lesson there is that they've gotten through it. Like, you will get through this. And there's people that have been where you might be, where you're struggling, but they got through it so you can get through it too.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's always the sun comes after the storm. Always.
Definitely. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I guess before the release show, though, you said you were a fashion designer, right? And so what made you get into fashion, and how is like I'm curious, like, do you feel like the fashion industry has been affected through COVID or not so much?
Okay, so what made me get into fashion was as a little girl, I was in beauty pageants. And so I've always had like a thing for fashion. And so I remember my godmother used to take me every season to go shopping for new clothes. And we would do like fashion shows in the hallway, and she would take pictures of me. And so that was just like my interest into fashion. So then as I got older, I would go to the mall and I wouldn't see like items that I would wear the way I wanted to wear. So I was like, why don't I create this? Why don't I create it? So I started drawing and doing little things like that. And so that just like opened up the doors for me. It's just, I've always been a very unique individual. Just now on the inauguration, I saw Lady Gaga, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I love her uniqueness. And that's what I do. Like, I like to be unique and different. I used to wear 2 different color shoes, like one black, one white, one red, one black, one pink, one yellow, to match my outfit. So I love being unique, and I've always had a very big passion for fashion. And so I just started designing. I don't actually sew, I just design. So I had to hire a team to sew for me. So that's how I got into fashion.
That's awesome. And how does fashion affect somebody's mood or energy? Because I feel like in COVID right now, most people, they're not going out. They're probably not even getting dressed up for work. Before we started recording, I made a joke, but it's not a joke. Like, I think I've worn a regular bra like 4 times in this year. Like, I wear a sports bra all the time. And I think I put on jeans like maybe twice. And that was ambitious. Like, I wear leggings every single day. And this is like the nicest, you guys can't see it if you're listening, but those who can watch this on YouTube, like, this is the nicest thing I've ever put on. It's like it's a pink sweatshirt, but like it's like the extent of getting dressed up. And I have been toying with this idea that like, I'm sure that if I got dressed and like I put something nice on, maybe I'd feel, maybe my energy would be up a little bit. Maybe I'd feel a little better. Like, not that I feel bad, but like it is this, I just feel like everything is so kind of dim and just, slow and chill. And I'm like, maybe that would bring some excitement into my life. Like, I don't know. Like, could you speak to that? Like, should we be getting dressed up and pretending like we're going to work, even though 90% of us are working from home?
Yes, I do think you should. And I don't either. I kind of just wake up in my pajamas and pull my laptop out and work too. But I will tell you, it does make you feel better. Like when I got ready for this podcast, I put on my makeup, put on my shirt and my earrings, and I felt great. But like before, I was just kind of like, this doing work or whatever. But it does change your mood because you feel better. Yeah. Once you put on some nice clothes and you see yourself in the mirror, I do think we should dress up as if we're going to the office because it'll make you feel so much better. And I'm always on Zoom calls and I turn off the video because I don't want people to see me because I'm not dressed up, you know? But I'm sure people would love to see my face and things like that. So yes, people, I agree. You should be dressing up because you will feel so much better. Hallway, do a little dance, and then jump on your laptop for the day. You know, it'll make you feel so much better inside.
Definitely. So I am curious too, when it comes to like building self-confidence. I feel like fashion can definitely do that, right? Because if you put on an outfit that fits you, that looks good on you. Sorry, my cat just popped up in the video. You know, I feel like that's always you know, something that's great to build your confidence. But have you kind of noticed, maybe personally or people you've interviewed, you know, ways to build confidence that isn't related to fashion, or maybe that is related to fashion, but it's not just about what you wear, it's kind of how you carry yourself, if that makes sense?
No. Yes, it is true how you carry yourself too. But I do think your appearance makes you feel better. Like when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see something beautiful there, you look at yourself like, wow. And so you start to build that confidence. And also people telling you, you know, that you look nice. Maybe it's the person in your house or something like that. That builds confidence as well. Because a lot of times people with low self-esteem, they don't actually think they're beautiful. So they need that confirmation of somebody telling them that. Even though they may look good, they still need that. So I think that we need to also compliment each other too. Maybe if you jump on a call with someone, say, hey, you look so beautiful today, because you just never know what that'll do for them. So I definitely think not only the appearance, but also telling people that they look good.
That's a good point. Like, as a dietitian who works with body image issues, I always tell people, don't comment on someone's body, because you never know what that's going to do to someone. But just saying the fact of like, you look beautiful, like that's a positive compliment. Or, you know, like just appreciating someone's like earrings or, you know, their necklace or something, that I think definitely goes a long way, because it shows that they're trying and now somebody noticed. I also like, as you were talking, when you said like, even just, you might not be going to work, but getting dressed up for like the people in your house, I could imagine it also improves relationships as well, like with a spouse, especially if you're not going out on date nights and things like anymore, because there's so many limitations. Like, you could still get dressed up for your spouse or your partner.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, you could get dressed up and go in the living room and have a little time together, turn on some music and dance with each other, you know, do something that just makes you feel good, you know. And it is great that you brought up that point about building closer. That is so true, because you always want to hear from the people that are closest to you, because those are the ones that know you. So hearing it from your husband kind of sparks you, like, oh, my husband told me I look good today, you know. So you definitely affirmations.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see, what else did I want to hear from you about today? I guess we talked about a lot of the things. Is there anything else like that you've maybe experienced or you feel like our listeners would benefit from today?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about how I got to Florida, and this should be like super inspiring for others. Like I say, you never know what someone is going through. When I moved to Florida, so what happened was, how I moved to Florida was, I was tired of living in Nashville, Tennessee. I needed to get away from that environment because I was so used to kind of being spoiled, and I just wanted to get away from that. I wanted a new environment. So I started actually applying for jobs all around the world, and wherever they called me for an interview and I got the job, I was moving there. So I got a call from a couple of different places, but Miami was my pick. And I moved to Miami, and I actually bought an apartment online. I didn't really know Miami like that. So when I bought the apartment online, it looks so beautiful. And you know how they do with marketing, they make the pictures look so amazing. And then when you get there, it doesn't look like that. So I moved on my 25th birthday to start my job. I was starting 2 weeks later after my 25th birthday. And so I moved, and when I pulled up at the apartment, it was like in the ghetto. And nothing against the ghetto. I've never lived in the ghetto, so nothing against the ghetto. It's just that I personally didn't feel comfortable living in the ghetto of a foreign place to me.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I didn't really know the Miami or anything like that. So I asked them, you know, if I could get my money back from this. And so I decided to not stress myself out and get in a hotel for the weekend. Okay. So I get a hotel and I wake up on Monday and I'm like, I have no place to stay. Like literally, I have no place to stay. So I have to go apartment shopping. And the cost of living here is so much more than it was in Nashville. So my apartment that I lived in Nashville was $600. Here, they're starting off at $1,500, but the one that I originally got approved for was $4,000. So I was okay with that. But $1,500 to $1,800 to $2,000 for an apartment that I'm barely going to be at because my job requires me to travel, it just didn't make sense to me. So I was a little stressed out about that. And so I ended up sleeping in my car. For a couple of months, I ended up sleeping in my car, and I slept in my car in this hotel parking lot. It was 3 Marriotts, and I had stayed there one time when I came down for a visit. And I would stay there, and I would take like wash-ups in their gym bathroom. And so every day, and then I would go to their pool. So I would act like I was actually like staying there. You know, I would enjoy all their amenities and everything like that. And so I was homeless for a couple of months, and then finally I was blessed with a place in Aventura, Florida. But I say this to say that is that you never know what you're going to go through to get to the next level in your life. Had I not stayed in Florida, I wouldn't have the daughter that I have. I wouldn't have the husband that I have. I wouldn't have all the things that I have now. My life would be so much different because any alteration to your life changes everything. So I just say this to say that if you have a goal that you want to push towards, just do it. Because I know I was homeless, but I didn't, you can tell. Like I went to work, fine, happy, jolly, and I never let that stop me from going forward, from pushing forward, because I knew eventually I'll be blessed with a place to stay.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I wasn't sure if you wanted to share your story. I'm sure there's a lot more that you're going to share, like you said, on your birthday. And so I'm excited to hear that for sure. But I think it's important for people to know, it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. You never know what somebody's going through. And the fact is, though, that you needed to go through that to get to where you're at today, you know? So that's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. Brittany, where can people find you, or if they want to read your book, follow the release show? How do people get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can follow the Release Show on IG. It's at The Release Show. I also have a page on Facebook, The Release Show, and I also have my personal page, which is Brittanys Sconiers. And so those are the 3 platforms that I'm on, that I'm active. And so eventually I'm going to start hosting some meetings on Clubhouse, but I'll keep
that's like new.
That's
new. Yeah, there's so many different platforms. Right. It's like, how do you keep up? I just started getting active on TikTok, which, believe it or not, is really fun, by the way. And like now it's like going to Clubhouse, and oh my goodness, it's like impossible to keep up with everything. But that would be that's actually good though.
To keep up with.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Definitely give Brittany a follow, give the Release Show a follow. Check out the interview that we did together on her YouTube channel and all the other amazing interviews from so many other inspiring guests. Brittany, thank you so much for being here. For those of you listening, if you're not already subscribed to the Tips with Tony podcast, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you like this episode, screenshot it, share it on your story, tag me, tag Brittany, let us know what you liked. All right, that's it from me today. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. You're welcome.